Hey, okay, I'm using a little GoPro here, and I just thought it'd be a good idea to show you around and kind of give you a glimpse of what I do on a daily routine. I don't know if anybody really cares what my practice routine is, but there might be somebody out there who could benefit from this. Here's my studio, first of all. That was the fun view. Okay, now, I do have some Latin percussion stuff in there. That used to be mine. It is now my son's. Now, the way I have my studio set up is this is my live rehearsal unit. Anybody who's been in the practice studio knows that this is what I use, and it hooks straight up into these guys here, which used to be live monitors. These are, 1,000-watt subs, 750-watt speakers. They've been around for like 6 years. This is my recording unit here. This is what I actually use to record with. This is the presonus RM16AI Studio Live. It's a fantastic unit. It's got 16 channels. I use it live. I use it for recording. The preamps on here are fantastic. It's got 2 main outs. It's got a mono output if you want. It's got stereo output. It's really, and it's got eight channels out. You can't see that with this camera, but that's cool. Now, this is leading into the drum set, which I will show you pretty soon. It's also leading out to these. So, in addition to this playing out to there, I have those playing out. Over here we have, ta-da! That's probably what, it's one of my most valued instruments right there. And it's a MIDI controller, for those of you who know what that is. That's my son's guitars. But my bass is over here in the dark. You can't see it. Anyway, so what I want to do is show you around a little bit. This is my jazz kit. I use this for clearly that and a few other scenarios. I don't practice on it as much as I'd love to. Okay, so from here, I'd like to spend 2 minutes showing you around. I'd like to show you a little bit of my routine. I'll cut and chop this up as necessary so you can see. Now, this is how I video. What you've been looking at is the inside. Inside there is my drum set. If I shut these lights off, what happens now is you can kind of see in through the curtains, because these are like cheap curtains. I shut the lights off so that you cannot see, outside here. And what I do is I take those lights out too. So you have in here, and I'll let you see my drum set. I don't use this for everything. Obviously, this is a lot of drums. That's just not the way. This is set up for the Steele band, and I do use it all for that. Over there, you've got. This is my little birch 10-inch snare, and then I have a 10-inch timbali here. And I've created this 13. I actually built that myself. It's not the best bearing edge, but it sounds all right. I've got bells and agago bells. I do use all this stuff for the band, and my usual setup. So I've got splash cymbals here. I love soul tone. Anybody who uses soul tone knows that these are just amazing cymbals. The one cymbal in here that I don't think so much of is actually this 12. It just doesn't have the smooth sound that the rest of them do, but the rest of them are amazing. I do have this extra K custom here that I've had for a decade. And over here we have something that I have refurbed myself. It used to be a Tama gong bass, and I have refurbed it to a Tyrone gong bass. So I cut it down and I changed the bearing edge and stuff. And it sounds, tremendous. What I've got the curtains up with, by the way, is I just got it up with these little office clips, man. I mean, it just works great right up there. So you can see that my setup is pretty. It's standard, but it's got a lot of stuff. Like I said, these are amazing cymbals. They wash. Anybody who's heard me play with them knows that. Okay, this kit is a bootleg custom kit. Bootleg is the name of the company, and I certainly endorse them because this is amazing. That's my favorite snare, and I have a whole rack of snares back there, 4 of which are bootleg, including that guy. This kick is just thunder. Now my practice routine also involves this guy here. If you really are interested in equipment, this little P1 by Behringer is basically a little personal mixer. It's got 2 ends, and I only use one at this point. 2 ends, and you can do stereo mono, however you want to do it. And it works great. It clips to your hip. I mean, I clip it there, but it clips to your hip. I use these cheap little Chinese $35 in-ear quad driver monitors, and I'm telling you, they work every bit as good as anything out there for $200 or $300. I highly advise you look these guys up. I can give you a link to Amazon. Now over here, what I do for my practice routine is I start with this guy. You know, I try to start with double bass practice, and I've got 3 metronomes. These are amazing apps. This one here is called BPM Live. Now, what this does is it registers what BPM you're playing at. So it will record it in a line up and down here, and you can adjust what it's expecting. So you can see that now it's expecting a higher speed. So it will print out your tempo there, and I use that for double kick, so I kind of get a meter, you know, an idea of where I'm at. Well, these 3 apps are fantastic, and if I draw back and look at the icons, you can see what I use. These are Tempo, which is a set list app, and the set list app literally is just that with a metronome. So if I go to set list, you can see that I've got, for my church gig, the names of them is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then you can put that in, and that's just the set list. Okay, it's cool. Also, you've got this one I highly recommend. It's Metro Timer and Sound Corset. Now, Metro Timer I already had open. Very simple. It only does portrait. That's why it's sideways. But it's very simple. You just slide this up and down, man. It's very simple. You can change whatever you want, practice timers and stuff. And there's your free apps. And the next one is Sound Corset. Sound Corset's the one we saw the first time. I can program and use triplets. I can use, it has everything you'd ever want. Plus, it's got a tuner. I mean, just amazing app. So that's what I start with right there. I always start kick drum first, double bass. Warm up with the double bass, warm up with the kick drum. Over here, I've got another app that I use that is for my sheet music. Now, the second thing that I do for my practice routine is I go to drums, which is my set list, and I go to a drum solo that I'm trying to get clean. I know it already in my head, but sometimes it's good to have the sheet music there, and you can zoom in and out, and you turn pages like this. It's a full rock drum solo. And for anybody who knows me, you know, I play rock, and that's my thing, but rock drum solos are historically very simple, and yet they're not. We can go into that later. And then I go into my stuff for the Steele band, and I select the song that I'm working on. Now, this is not an easy song, so it's taking me a long time. And what I do is I come over here, and I've got Logic queued up, and you can see that all I've got to do is do some keystroke, special keystrokes, and it takes me to segments of the song. So if I want to go to like the 3rd segment, I just keystroke to it, and boom, boom, go back to the beginning. So, and I can also repeat like this. So if I want to repeat that whole section, you can see that all I got to do is this. And see, it turns yellow, and it loops it. So I can play it over and over and over again. That's my main routine. Anything outside of that is 10 minutes now almost. Anything outside of that is kind of not, it's spur of the moment. It's stuff that I'm working on here and there. I work on technique stuff. I work on a few odds and ends, but this is my main routine. I'll have a couple songs I work on. I work on double bass, and I work on just stuff here and there that happens to fall in line with that, plus a solo. Well, now you've got the whole shebang. You can also see, you know, that I have mics set up for recording. All of this, I don't have mics set up for the toms right now because I'm not in recording mode. But what I do is I pull the drum set out from under these right here. These all stay, and I've got one more thing you ought to see, is I've got, see that little white dot? That's a piece of tape. I've got tape marked on this carpet and that rug. Can't see it because it's too dark, but there is like that right there. That tells me that when I put my drum set back together, that's exactly where those go. It's called a drum map. I highly recommend it for anybody who does any kind of recording at all, or you just have a fairly large drum set and you want to put it together the same way every time. And that's it. I just want to give you a tour. Thank you for spending time with me. It's Tyrone Steele, and I will get back with you with more later, hopefully a little sample of what I do for my practice routine. Thanks.